Hey guys, let's talk a little bit about standard 1 today, which is going to be about energy flow and cycles of matter. So this is the actual standard for standard 1. Organisms transfer energy, so there's a flow of energy, and they transfer matter, which is in cycles, as they survive and reproduce. This occurs on all levels of organization, from molecules to ecosystems. Energy flows unidirectionally through ecosystems. So this is going to be the gist of what you're learning about today with this flipped lesson. All right, we're going to start by talking about energy flow first. So energy flow is unidirectional. So what this means is as energy is moving through an ecosystem, it only moves in one direction. So it's not going to be cycle, it's not going to go back and forth, it's just going to go in one direction, not the band. So if you look at the picture there on the screen, you can see that each of these things is going to transfer energy to the next thing. So energy is transferred when things eat each other. Right? Okay, so if you look at the picture, the flowers, they have lots of energy. When the caterpillars eat the flowers, they get some of that energy. When the frog eats the caterpillar, they get some of that energy, so on and so forth. So if you look, you can almost always trace energy back to the sun. So the original source of energy is almost always the sun, because of course the flower, the plant, whatever example you're talking about, it's going to harness energy from the sun, and that's how it gets energy in the first place. That's photosynthesis, which we'll talk more about later. So it's unidirectional, and you can trace it back to the sun, and energy is transferred by things eating each other. One thing that's interesting is as energy is passed down, only 10% actually gets passed on. So if we look at the plant, let's say it has 100% of the energy that it has. Whatever eats the plant only gets 10% of that. And then whatever eats that guy, only 10% of that. So if you look at the pyramid kind of on the bottom, if you have 100% at the bottom, 10% moves on to the next level. And then 1%, which is, of course, 10% of 10%, and so on. So the higher up on the food chain you get, the less energy you're actually getting. So usually they have to eat more of those things. So that is energy flow. So again, it's unidirectional. It's only traveling in one way. Energy flows by things eating each other, but only 10% of what the thing they ate. Only 10% of that energy gets passed on. And one direction, 10%, you can trace it back to the sun. All right, now let's talk about matter. So matter is going to cycle through an ecosystem. So it's not going to move one direction like energy, it's going to cycle around. So what this means is when we're looking at matter, it's always there, right? It's just moving around. So the overall amount doesn't change. So there's always the same amount of oxygen. There's always the same amount of phosphorus in our planet. It's just the way that it is, the phase that it's in. So it could be a solid, liquid, a gas could change. What's holding it could change, but the overall amount stays the same. So we all need these different elements, this different matter. The only way you can get it is from something that already has it. So water is going to cycle. Elements like oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus are going to cycle. All of these things are going to move through an ecosystem. So in this next part of the assignment, your group is going to be assigned one of the matter cycles. So either oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, or the water cycle. You're going to do a little bit of research on that cycle, and then you're going to make a video to teach your classmates about it. So you'll read more about that on Schoology. Best of luck. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.